Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Darren Cameron. I'm the Director of Communications and Media Relations with the Winnipeg Football Club. I would like to first off thank members of the media for joining us on very short notice this morning, and also for your patience over the last, over the last 24 hours. I'd also like to acknowledge all staff, all board members, and Blue Bomber fans watching live or listening on radio. Today we embark on some major changes within the Winnipeg Football Club hierarchy. And to begin this announcement, please allow me to introduce the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Winnipeg Football Club, Mr. Brock Bulldog.
Thank you, Darren, and once again, good morning, everyone, media, Board of Directors, staff, and fans, and the community who may be watching over the airwaves. Also, good morning to Mr. Wade Miller, former Blue Bomber Hall of Famer, community leader. You'll be hearing more from Wade in a few moments, at which point his presence here today will make sense to you. Let me begin my comments by addressing the first topic on everyone's minds, and that's the media leak that occurred yesterday. Not only was the unauthorized release of information extremely unfortunate, it was unethical and left Joe Mack in a position that we all find abhorrent. Though we may never determine whether, in fact, a board member leaked the information or who it was, you can count on the fact that we take the situation extremely seriously, and if discovered, we will take immediate corrective action to ensure that this type of behavior is not tolerated in this organization. To come to the business at hand, allow me to tell you that for some time the board has been engaged in an exhaustive evaluation of all aspects of our business. Clearly, things have not been going in the right direction, and our record speaks for itself. After a lot of review, discussion, and contemplation at the board level, this morning I spoke with Garth Butchko, and through mutual agreement, determined that he will no longer serve the Winnipeg Football Club. Yes, Garth took on the immense task of opening Investors Group Field, and along with this path, inherited a number of issues that were not of his making. We are grateful for his tireless efforts, but at the end of the day, the board in its capacity determined the club needed to move, and move now, in a new direction in its most senior position. Having already introduced you to Wade Miller, it is my pleasure to announce that effective immediately, Wade will serve as our new acting CEO with a clear mandate to do what he does best, and that's to roll up his sleeves, excite and motivate people, and effect the kind of change that will move the Winnipeg Football Club in a different direction, starting now. I suspect most of you and our fans know Wade, but for those who don't, he brings a winning combination of experience to the table that we strongly believe is right for our football club. For starters, he knows football from the inside of the Blue Bomber locker room. During his 11 years with our team, Wade received CFL East Division All-Star honors in 1997 and 1999, and ranks as the Bombers' all-time leader in special team tackles. He was inducted into the Winnipeg Hall of Fame in 2011. Wade took his tenacious, no-holds-barred approach from the locker room to the boardroom, where he started not just one, but a number of successful businesses. Pinnacle, the city's largest provider of executive and management recruitment services, Elite Sports Injury, and Elite Performance Plus. He even opened Booster Juice franchises in Winnipeg. In recognition of his attitude and his business success, in 2007, Wade was named as one of the top 40 under 40 in Canada by the Globe and Mail. Finally, he is a committed community leader, having twice received the Ed Kotowich Good Guy Award given annually to the Blue Bomber who best combines football ability, team camaraderie, and extraordinary community effort. Driven by his entrepreneurial, ambitious spirit, Wade likes to build winning teams, and we're giving him the mandate to do just that wherever it's in the locker room, boardroom, or reaching out into the community. In him, we believe we have found an unbeatable combination of passion, commitment, and experience to set the Winnipeg Football Club on a new path. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Wade Miller.
Thank you, Brock, and good morning to everybody. It's an honor to stand up before you today as the acting CEO of the Winnipeg Football Club, and I mean it. As a former member of our Blue Bombers and someone who remains committed to the chair of the alumni organization, this team means everything to me. Just as I know it means so much to our fans and the community. It was on the field racking up tackles where I learned that value of being tenacious and digging deep as part of a team. These lessons drove me into business where I like to think I've enjoyed a little more success following the same principles of building winning teams and valuing and motivating people. In accepting the challenge in this leadership role, I look at the amazing new Investors Group field, knowing the finest facility in the country can't protect our fans from the disappointment of what is happening on the field. To our fans, I want you to know that I'm committed to the heavy lifting required to put us on a new path and affect the kind of change that will lead us into a new direction. These aren't empty words. Since at the age of 23, I've been rolling up my sleeves, getting it done, and delivering results. In the end, whether you're running a home, a business, or a football club, that's all that really matters. And yes, I even welcome the term acting CEO, because I'm not afraid to prove myself and let my results speak for myself. That's my calling card on the field and off the field, so we're going to bring it. I'm an individual who moves quickly, and this morning I spoke with General Manager Joe Mack and notified him that he'll be relieved of his duties immediately. A GM has a responsibility to win football games. Let's call a spade a spade. Under Joe Mack, the record speaks for itself. I've yet to speak with Kyle Walters as he's in transit, but have spoken to Tim Burke this morning. These conversations went extremely well, and over the next couple days, we'll be evaluating and determining the critical next steps that are needed in our football operations. With 2/3 of the season left, the club is moving forward in a new direction. The standing pat is gone. It's time for action. And yes, I'm going to focus on football first to bring back the history and winning attitude we used to have, because that's what our fans not only expect but deserve. But I also want you to know, in our new home, we have to grow this beyond football to ensure to take advantage of offering our community a full range of opportunities available at this sport and entertainment facility. We've got the best fans in the stands, the best stadium. Now we're going to make things right on the field and create the best fan experience possible, and that includes a competitive team. I know the challenges that lie ahead, but I'm comfortable in growing a business and tackling everything that comes at me. I have business and football experience. I have the business and football experience plus the passion and commitment to make this happen and move the club forward. Not only is change necessary, it's already happening. I want to thank the board for a clear mandate. I look forward to your questions. I look forward to making this move in the right direction.
Thank you, Wade. This time we'll open the floor to questions. On behalf of all of us, I'd really appreciate it if you lift your so these gentlemen know who they're speaking with, and I'll point to you, and we'll go from there. We can go ahead now, please. Paul.
Paul Friesen from the Sun. Brock, when did you first have Wade on your radar, and talk a bit about the process of getting to this with him?
Without being so specific, I can tell you that the board has been going through an evaluation for some period of time now, a fairly extensive period of time. And that evaluation including looking at all possible alternatives with respect to that we believe that we have before us with respect to the leadership role.
And if I may follow up, what made Garth not suitable as your CEO any longer?
We determined, simply stated, we determined that the club needed to go in a different direction. As mentioned, Garth was dealt a difficult hand, but having said that, we are accountable to our record, and we had to act accordingly. The board believed that a new direction was necessary, and necessary now.
Gary?
Wade, what is your mandate in terms of your scope of power? Will you be able to hire a coach? Will you be able to fire a GM? Will you have to report to the board to make those decisions? How much power do you have now?
I've been given the mandate to be the CEO of the organization, and I will run the organization the way it needs to be run. I will look to the board for counsel, but I will make those decisions.
Kelly?
Wade, Kelly Moore from CJOB. How long did you have to prepare for this? When were you first notified that this change might be coming? And what were some of the things you wrestled with before you said yes, or was it an automatic, I'll do it?
I'm not going to get into the details of the timing of that. For me, it's really simple. This community, the fans, the players, this organization deserves to win. And I just want to be a part of helping that out.
Wade, if I can ask one more question, and that is, in going forward, Brock addressed corrective action will be taken in the future with respect to confidential information. How will you address that with the board?
It simply won't happen. And I look forward to ensuring that it doesn't. And we will work to ensure that those things do not occur again.
Gary?
Just to go back a second there. I lost my train of thought. Excuse me.
So, Wade, Mitch Peacock with CBC. What's your first order of business in trying to right the ship football-wise here?
My first order of vision is to sit down with Tim Burke and to sit down with Kyle Walters and work on evaluating and reviewing the entire football operations. So that will be my first order of business, and that will start tomorrow.
Have you got a timeline on the new GM?
We're going to sit down and work together with those two individuals and come up with a plan that works.
Why is it acting CEO, and how long will it be acting CEO? I'll ask you first, Brock.
Sure. As Wade already stated, Wade welcomes the opportunity to prove himself. And the board is excited to give him an opportunity to prove himself. So it is acting to ensure that Wade can deliver on what we all believe that he can deliver on. But it is not acting from a diminished power perspective. He is empowered as if he was the CEO without the added title of acting.
You have another business, Wade. If this turns out great and you prove to the board that you can do the job, will you accept removing acting and be the CEO of the Blue Bombers?
That's down the future, but what I'll say is that I'm able to sit here today because I've got amazing business partners, amazing staff, and amazing organizations that we've built together. So I'm able to do this because of those people in those organizations.
You'll devote 100% of your time to this. You won't have your feet both tools.
For most of you that know me, you know that it's 100%, and that's what you get.
Is there a time period to this acting title? Is there an end date to this acting?
That is not information that we're disclosing.
Paul? My question was related to that. Surely there's some kind of contractual situation that the public needs some answer on that, doesn't it?
The acting is a sufficient period of time, but beyond that, we're not disclosing the details of personal employment agreements.
Can you give a...
There's a dispersal draft in early December. Will Wade be in position until the end of that?
Yes.
So obviously that's incredible.
Yes.
So
Yes.
At least to the end of December.
Yes.
Wade, will you have say in personnel matters for the football team?
I'm going to work with Kyle and Coach Burke, and we are going to figure out what we need to do to start moving the yardsticks and start winning.
Could that possibly include a return of Buck Pierce as quarterback?
You know, it's day one of first hour, so I'm going to sit down and we're going to talk and work through all the different aspects of the football operations.
Are you talking with them as a means of gathering information before seeking your own GM candidates, or how you approach the GM situation?
We're in the middle of a football season, and we need to focus on Hamilton this week, and that's what we're going to do.
Sean?
Mr. Bobick, you mentioned that the league, as it's called, is a disappointment and you're looking into it. What are you saying to your fans in the city about the performance of your board directly? Not only about the league, but hiring Mr. Butchko, firing Mr. Butchko, allowing Mr. Mack to retain his position despite a losing record. I think that they're asking a lot of questions about the Bomber organization from that board perspective. So what's your response?
Well, I'm going to start in reverse. The allowing Mr. Mack to continue in the position is not a board decision. That is a management decision exercised by the CEO. So the board had no role in that decision. With respect to the performance of the board, I will tell you that we have a board that is extremely dedicated. We have a board that takes this job very seriously, a board that is that prides themselves on their devotion to the community. And what happened yesterday is beyond disappointing to all of us. And I just don't have the words to explain how bad we feel. The circumstances were such, unfortunately, given the timing and the plans that were being put in place to unfold what you have before you today, that we couldn't move or take any alternative action yesterday after the leak occurred. The fact that the leak occurred is beyond disappointing. It's unethical. I just met with the staff, and the message that I communicated to them is that this organization will not tolerate that either in the boardroom or in the organization anywhere. Now, saying it is one thing, doing something about it is much more difficult. We may never know the source of the leak, but we will absolutely take immediate and drastic action should we ever determine where information like that is getting out on a confidential, where it is confidential information.
You mentioned that Mr. Butchko had been dealt a difficult hand. Could you tell us about that? Because you move into a brand new facility that's the envy of the league. You got a lot of goodwill from the fans. I'm not quite sure what that difficult hand is, or maybe you could describe it.
You know, I don't want to dwell on that, but just to give you a bit of an answer, moving into a new facility that has all sorts of new requirements, management requirements, new processes to establish and develop, a facility that was delayed beyond anyone's expectation. All of those matters were part of the difficult hand. But I don't really, and I'm respectful of the questions of history, but I think today that we should be focusing on our future and painting the vision for how we are going to right this ship with Wade at the helm and move forward into an organization that our fans and our community can once again be proud of.
Paul? This organization, Brock, is becoming infamous for paying people not to work here. You're doing it again now with Garth and Joe. How significant a financial hit is it?
Again, we're not in a position to disclose the financial implications of the employee matters that are occurring today.
So are you shrugging that off as no big deal?
It is a significant issue, but it's an issue that we'll have to manage through. And the consequence of not taking action today, that was evaluated, but in light of the alternatives, the action taken today is necessary action.
Gary?
From your answer about the league, you said that things were unfolding in other areas. I'll take it from that you were already in conversation with Wade, and this decision to fire both Garth and Joe is something that's been coming for a little while.
Yes.
Didn't happen just yesterday.
No.
It's not knee-jerk.
No. And as I mentioned earlier, the process that was in play made our dealing with it yesterday from a board perspective very difficult.
At the back?
Wade, I think fans just want this team to make the playoffs and
So do I.
make a run. Do you have enough time to do that right now?
We have 2/3 of our season left. We're in a division where other teams have stumbled as well. So I do believe that we have that opportunity. And you need to make the playoffs, and then you need to win 2 games, and then you're in a Grey Cup. But we need to start winning those games now.
Sorry, Kirk, I couldn't see at the back with the lights. Okay.
What is your evaluation of the roster at this point, Wade? Is it a talented roster?
You know, I want to take a step back, and I want to sit down and review that. And there's a lot of things that go into winning football games. You don't need to be the most talented team on the field. Sometimes you're the most talented team and you win. But we want to take a look at everything that we're doing and see what we can do to be in the best situation to win this week.
What makes you qualify for this?
Well, I have the football experience, I have the business experience, and I'm also going to bring the passion.
That's it? That's all you need?
That's all I need.
So is there a crossover between the business experience and having been a player that equals being a good football executive? Because of the ins and outs of the league.
It's gonna help you. You know what you need to be doing. You know where you can support your head coach, where you can support people in football operations. So it definitely benefits you in doing that.
Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
If Wade decides on if he wants to go in a direction with a new GM, does he have that power as acting CEO to do that now?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
I'm confused. Garth had to go to you to get permission to fire Joe. So there was, board activity in the day-to-day operation of the football club. Are you saying now that that's no longer the case and the board will only be for governance?
That was not the case with Garth either. Garth had the authority to make decisions on football operations. Most good CEOs, most CEOs would solicit the support, have some dialogue and communication with the board, and try to understand whether or not they had support, notwithstanding their ability to exercise their judgment and make those decisions on their own. What happened yesterday was the fact that, so the board wasn't needing to pass a resolution, but what was in play was Garth was processing the business decision that he was planning to make, and processing with trying to have some dialogue with the board.
Paul?
To remove the CEO obviously takes a board
Yes.
decision. So how did this come together so quickly?
As I mentioned earlier, Paul, we have been reviewing and evaluating this for many weeks, including many late-night board meetings.
And the decision then by Garth to relieve Joe, or perhaps the league, brought the decision ultimately forward at this time?
Yesterday's decision modestly accelerated it.
And how did you guys get together as a board? Conference call? Meeting?
We've met as a board in person for probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 hours, 2 6-hour meetings over the course of the last 2 evenings.
Brock, you spoke about the perception. You understood the perception from the public that the board was an old boys club and too
Right.
involved in football operations. You spoke to that to the Free Press
Yes.
in, I believe, April. That perception hasn't changed. As a matter of fact, it's increased, and people really believe that, you know, that you guys are calling the shots. And whether it's accurate or not, that is the perception. How do you change the perception?
You know, it's we have to change it by demonstrating it, and I think that you know, we're looking forward to being able to stand behind Wade and allow him to make the moves that is necessary to put this club on the right path again. Quite honestly, the board doesn't even want to be heard from, mentioned, acknowledged. That's not why we do this. We do this because we truly care and understand how important this football club is for our community. And I can tell you, when we lose, it pains us as much as any of you or any of our die-hard fans. So we want to be in the background.
When Garth took the job, the first thing he said to me was that he was concerned with having the board be too involved, and he wanted the board to be in governance only. And he said that he took the job because Brock assured him that that was going to be the case, and he had great faith in Brock and working with him in that respect. Where do you come in on that today? Are you confident that you can run the football team as you wish?
If I had any doubt in that, I wouldn't be here, sitting here today.
Does your contract make that clear?
It is 100%, without any question. I know that it is that way.
So that just clears a path that whatever happens from here on end, in terms of the football and the business end of things, it begins and ends with Wade Miller. And you're comfortable with that?
Yes, sir.
Sean?
You've got two gentlemen now that were under contract. I'm wondering how this affects your bottom line. You've got big responsibilities with respect to debt. First, could you tell me how much left over on those two gentlemen's contracts and how much it is? Because I need to know the sort of nuts and bolts of it. Second, can the team cope with this added financial burden? Because you've got a lot of people under contract that aren't working for you.
As I think I answered Paul's question, we aren't able to disclose the financial specifics of employment arrangements. I did acknowledge that this is not an insignificant matter for us. We will have to manage through it, just as we have to manage through many of the other minefields, or Wade will have to manage through many of the other minefields that will come his way.
Paul, Wade, could you just describe your management style in more than a few words?
Sure. It's one about empowering. It's about serving and helping everybody that reports and being a leader, and setting the direction and vision, and having a systematic approach to everything that we do.
Joe?
Wade, because you're going to be wearing two hats, what do you view as the greater challenge walking into this? Getting things straightened out on the business side, or getting things straightened out on the football side?
Well, first, I think I'm wearing one hat, and I believe that they go hand in hand. And I think that what you do on the field helps you in the business side, and vice versa. So I think they're both important.
Wade, do you think that your appointment to you have to win over the fans? Because late in your career, rightly or wrongly, the fans thought you were part of the problem of this football team as a player.
Sure. I did what was asked of me as a football player. That's a much different role. And what was required and what I did it to my best abilities. And so this is a much different animal for sure.
We'll take three more, please.
Does that experience as a player, how great a benefit is that now, or is that not a benefit?
It's a huge asset.
How so?
It's a huge asset to understand how players are thinking, how coaches are thinking. If some of you remember, I also sat in coaches' meetings when I had to become a special teams coach way back when as well. So I've had the exposure of all the different aspects of the football side.
And a quick follow-up, what's your support level for your coaching staff right now?
Coach Burke is the coach of this football team going forward, and I look forward to working with him and Kyle and reviewing the entire operations of the football team, and worried about Hamilton this week.
Mitch and then Gary.
Brock, I just wanted to know why you felt that Wade was a good fit in terms of being someone who oversees the future of a $200 million investment as a manager of an entertainment facility.
Well, as I stated in my opening comments, we believe that Wade brings a great combination of football experience and knowledge. As he just mentioned, he even had a little bit of coaching experience as a 23-year-old, I believe.
Yeah.
A 23-year-old player. But he also brings the experience and track record of building several successful business ventures. And if anybody knows Wade, he has an extreme level of passion. He is a doer. He's a guy that is going to get things done. And it's really, he talked about it, business experience, football experience, passion. Get it done.
The last two go to Gary and Sarah. Gary?
You're a good quote as a player. Is that going to change? Are we all stuffy now?
I don't think I was a good quote as a
You were a
player.
good quote.
Okay. I'll work on that for you.
Sarah, the last one.
Wade, just for you said that when you spoke to Joe this morning and gave him the news, just what was the tone of that conversation? Obviously, I mean, he knew heard the news that had leaked out yesterday. Just what his reaction was.
Sure. He was very supportive and said he wishes the best for this football club and the organization, and believes that it's close to turning. And that was it was a good conversation that we had this morning, and he did his best and worked as hard as he could every day to get the team in the right direction.
Final one goes to Kirk Panther, please.
Well, look, I just have a question about the stadium and it not being full. How concerning is that to the board, and how much of a mandate is on Mr. Miller to fill this place?
Yeah, the attendance thus far, although not full or sellouts, has been meeting business plan. Obviously, the ability to continue to fill the stadium going forward depends upon the support that we have for our on-field product and the support that we have overall for the organization. And that's part of Wade's mandate.
I'd like to thank everybody again, once again, for joining us this morning on very short notice.